This is Operation B, the podcast about living with intention, building what feels true, and dropping the things that don't. A place where purpose meets practice. I'm Jamie Thurber, your host, and together we'll explore how to live with clarity, freedom, and alignment without burning out or losing yourself, because it's time to be who you're meant to be. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to Operation B. I'm your host, Jamie Thurber, and today we are going to sit down with someone who's been in my life for a very long time, and we've had the privilege of working together and also then creating a personal friendship too. And her name is Jessica McTaggart, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Today's guest is someone I've had the privilege of watching evolve as both a leader and a human over the past many years. Many years. So Jessica McTaggart is the owner and visionary behind the Curl Sanctuary, one of St. Louis's most loved clean beauty curly salons, and a place that has genuinely reshaped how women experience their natural hair. Jessica has built more than a salon. She's built a culture, one rooted in education, empowerment, authenticity, and a standard of care that most salons don't even come close to touching. She leads a team of women who are growing, learning, and building personal brands under her guidance, and she does it with a level of integrity and intention that's rare in the beauty industry. I've watched her step into her voice, refine her systems, elevate her boundaries, and build a business that feels exactly like her. She's not stopping anytime soon. We'll talk about that. There's new cool things happening, but I'm excited for you to hear her story, learn a little bit more about her perspective, because she's been able to go through a couple different versions of what it's like to build a salon business, because it's evolved since you first started. So that was a big mouthful and a great, it almost made me cry.
I know, me too.
I'm like, damn, already?
I'm like, oh, is this what we're doing today? Okay.
I just love you.
Also, like, it's so interesting to hear people talk about you the way they would talk about you when you're not sitting in the room. It's like a little bit awkward. You're like, oh gosh, is that what it is? Is that who I am? Wow, okay.
I know.
Look at me go.
I know. Well, someplace I think would be good to start is for people who don't already know, tell them about what the Curl Sanctuary is and what makes it different than your average salon.
Yeah, okay. So just a little bit about me. I have been in the hair industry since 2001, which I can't believe. I'm like, I can't even say that 25 years out loud because it just feels too weird. But yeah, so I entered this business in 2001 because I, before that, was working in a makeup counter. And while I knew I didn't want to work in like that kind of retail for the rest of my life, I really enjoyed making people feel good. So that's a little bit of my why for getting into the industry. And then over the years, I kind of like tripped and fell into curly hair very early on in my career. And it has life and breath of its own. Like, I don't even feel like I intentionally created it for the first 10 years. I feel like it created me a little bit, honestly. 11 years ago, almost 12 now, I married my husband. And then a few months later, I left the salon I had been at for 13 years to open the Curl Sanctuary. And I still kind of laugh today because I remember when I knew that I was ready for something new. This name of the Curl Sanctuary kind of hit me in a conversation with a client. I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but she came into the salon I was working in, and there's a bunch of people that have curly hair. And so she was like, oh my God, I love it here. People have curly hair. And normally I go into salons and I feel so awkward and like, honestly, just like not loved. And I said, oh, well, we're a sanctuary for curls. And it like hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh, Curl Sanctuary, how cute is that?
Yeah.
And then I immediately started second guessing myself. And that evening, a friend of mine who was like a marketing guru and also a client was in the salon. And I said, psst, I'm going to be leaving. And I came up with this name today, the Curl Sanctuary, but will I alienate all my straight clients? I don't want them to leave me. Oh my goodness. And then she was like, don't be silly. It's a cute name. And by the way, if you can have a niche, have a niche.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, but my straight clients, I need them, you know? And little did I know that like 7 years later, one of the hardest things that I was ever going to do with your help was I was having some health issues and my business was very successful. But I just couldn't keep up with my current clientele. So I very difficultly, lovingly released a lot of clients that I'd be seeing for many years to kind of lean into this curl specialty.
Yeah.
So the Curl Sanctuary, that was a lot of words. Sorry, guys. The Curl Sanctuary
I got the goosebumps
is,
like 3 times, so you're
oh,
good.
yay. So my vision for the Curl Sanctuary is, honestly, if you don't have curly hair, you don't know. But if you have curly hair, or if you're not sure if you have curly hair, or, you know, like even Jamie, I'm like, you got to get in here. I think you might have curly hair.
Yeah,
Come on now.
sure do.
So it's just that every time you've gone into a salon, most of the time stylists are looking at you trying to figure out what they can do to like fix your curly hair. And they don't mean make it look like this. They mean make it look like that. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with making it look like that,
Mm-hmm.
that's not what everybody wants. So at the Curl Sanctuary, we just really want you to feel good about walking out the way God made you, feel like you can embrace your curly hair. We want to help you have the tools to be able to like walk through that and know what to do and how to do it and what to use. And oftentimes when I'm meeting new clients in the salon, I'll say like, how'd you find us? It'll be online or whatever. And I'll say, do you feel like you just could not have watched any more YouTube videos, TikToks, Instagram reels, and like you've got a whole graveyard of products under your sink and you're just frustrated beyond belief and you just want somebody to help you crack your own code for your hair and you can't figure it out? And they're like, yes. I'm like, that is what we do. That is who we are. So all of that to say, it started with just loving on people with curly hair and making them feel safe instead of less than the people with straight hair who want to straighten their hair. Not that you can't just because you're a client of mine, but you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of blossomed into this, like, the more I learned about curly hair and what curly hair likes and doesn't, I started kind of leaning into clean beauty and clean living. And now you got to be careful if you get me started talking about it because I'll climb on my soapbox and tell you all the reasons why we don't use all those ingredients and this, that, and the other thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's a little bit of what we've evolved to over the years, where we started, where 50% of my clients when I opened my own salon were straight. And now I would say that probably maybe 6%, 7%, and that includes like my mom who has wavy hair but doesn't think she does, so we pull it out
Right,
straight,
right.
and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What I love is I remember when we first started working together and you told me that there are women that are 50, 60 years old, whatever age, that sit in your chair. And so fun fact, guys, the best way to cut curly hair is dry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't know that. And now I know way more about curls than I ever knew I would.
Probably than a lot of hairstylists,
Yeah,
honestly.
it's truth. But a lot of those women have never had a haircut that they liked. Which like that's huge.
It's
You
so
go to
sad.
this, it is like it
It
hurts
makes
my
my heart.
heart.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that sucks. You go to the salon and you're supposed to walk out feeling really good. But when you have curly hair and you walk out and you're like, ugh, and you feel worse, like over and over and over again. So that's where like the sanctuary word really does just fit really, really well.
Yeah.
So was there a moment you can think of as you were building the Curl Sanctuary and like having these conversations and seeing what was going on, seeing how needed what you were doing that specific was, like, where you realize it's actually a lot bigger than hair?
Oh my goodness, yeah. Honestly, I can't really pinpoint the moment. Um, I feel like it's like flowing moments. I feel like I know that. Like if you asked me, I'd be like, of course I know that. Duh. But then I'll walk into my salon and I'll have a conversation with somebody and I'm like, it hits me like a ton of bricks again. And I honestly, sometimes I get a little wrecked by it all.
Yeah.
It makes me sad,
Yeah.
but also it makes me excited.
Yeah.
As women, I don't care, straight, curly, tomboy, prep, whatever, like we are our own worst critics.
Yeah.
And being able to come in and come alongside of women who are looking for the things they hate about themselves and being able to, or the things they're very self-conscious about.
Yeah.
And being able to like walk into that room with them and be like, knock it off. We don't do that here. That's
Yeah.
not what we're doing today. We're going to figure out how to make this different, how to make this
Mm-hmm.
manageable, and then we're going to celebrate the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because, especially when we see new clients, but my new associate, Sierra, I have two amazing girls that work with me, Lily and Sierra. They're both really great. We all are so complimenting to each other's personalities. Mine, of
Mm-hmm.
course, being like the loudest, and theirs being like a little more timid and sweet because you can't have too many of me in a room. But Sierra's been encouraging me to get more and more photos of our existing clients, before and afters. But
Yeah.
we always try to do that for our new guests. And a lot of times they're like, oh, please no. And I'm like, hey, look, just let me take it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to post
Yeah.
it. We don't have to send it anywhere. If we get done and you want me to delete it, we'll just delete it right off the phone. But like, let me just take it so you can see the difference. And the amount of times we almost have no front pictures of people,
Yeah. Right.
of their hair. And at the end, they're like, yes, you can take my after.
Right. I know.
Oh, you can take my after. You want
It's
video?
true.
You want
You
photo?
don't have any fronts.
I don't
or
have any
befores.
fronts. And I honestly, a lot of times I don't even ask for them because I'm actually pretty good at reading the room and
Yeah.
like when people are feeling uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And so if they're like, I guess, I'm like, I'm not even going to ask them for that.
Sure.
And then there's other people who are like, yes, take all the pictures. And I'm like,
Yeah.
turn around,
Yeah.
come here. And so you'll see one of those every once in a while. But yeah, like it's the transformations that happen and the way that people feel. And then like sometimes it's like, I'll be like, let's take your after pictures. And they're like, oh God, my hair looks amazing, but my face. I'm like, don't worry, we got clean makeup. Let me just give you a little touch up and a little lipstick, and
Yeah.
we're gonna take some after pictures for you today. So, yeah, it's really fun.
Well, and the best part is you also send them home with education to recreate what you do in the salon themselves every other day, which is something a lot of people, even straight hair clients, like you can't always recreate what your stylist is creating. And they're usually like when you're a blow dry client, they're usually rushing through that part. If you think about it, like at the end of your stuff, because they're like, oh, let's get this done. So you don't get to learn necessarily how to style your hair, and what you do with the challenges that people already have with having curly hair is that they don't just walk out that day as you've set their curls and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
They then are educated with what they need to do that themselves, which I think is like my favorite part.
Yeah. I think one of the things that really sets our salon apart too, is that consultation is the most important thing to us.
Mm-hmm.
So really listening. And I'm not going to say that no hairstylists listen. Like that's really unfair. I have a lot of really talented friends who are good listeners.
Yeah.
But also if we step out of our stylist brain and we step into the client's chair,
Yeah.
that's how the client is feeling. Like so many times, our clients will feel like we've already made up their mind about what we're going to do for them when they sit down. And to be completely honest, if we really asked ourselves, sometimes we have.
Yeah.
And so I have to keep myself from doing that. I like actually sit down in a chair and I look at them face to face and I don't have scissors in my hands. And, talk to them a little bit about what brings them in. What do they like? What do they hate? Sometimes I'm like, you can't tell me what you want. Tell me what you had that you can't stand. Let's make sure we don't do that. And I always talk about it being our first date. I'm like, I'm not. And sometimes they'll say, well, you're the expert. Just tell me what to do. I'm like, no. I don't order for people on our first date.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't worry. By the time we've been dating for a few years, I'll be ordering for you all the time. Girl, come on, let's bang you. Let's do a few highlights, whatever. But like, that is the moment when I start to build that relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I feel like to your point with like the blow dries and stuff, it's like, it's a very personal relationship that you have with your hairstylist. And so many times we're talking about our lives in there, right? We're talking about what's going on with our kids. We're talking about, our bad day at work, there's a term in our business called therapist.
Yeah.
Like you come in and you tell me all the things and you might do what I say and not do what your therapist says. And don't tell them, they get really angry about that. But on our first date, we just talk about your hair. Like, I may not know how many kids you have when you leave. Now, a year from now, I might remember where you vacationed last summer. But this is way more of an education experience in our salon than it is, let's talk about our boyfriends. And it's
Right.
not because I don't want to know about their lives.
Yeah. I think the thing that I hope everyone picks up on this is that everything we're talking about is sure it's about their hair, but it's not.
Oh, yes.
Like this is about the person's life, them being seen, them being loved, them feeling important, them feeling heard. Like these are things that as human beings, especially in our current like culture and the way the world works, we crave desperately. And you're providing that in a different way than a lot of people get it. Yeah. And that's like the thing where it's like if you listen to these conversations, my favorite thing about my show, because what I do, and you know I do this, but I hope that everyone listening does it too, is it doesn't matter what you do for a living. The people that I bring here and that I have these conversations with, we all have a similar passion for helping people or helping ourselves to be better people. And so that story plays across everybody's channel. You know, we can take this entire conversation about curly hair clients feeling unseen and never getting something that feels good and feeling there's something wrong with them, blah, blah, blah. And think about all of the parallel places that you could put that exact thing.
Yeah.
That people feel.
And honestly, we're all so busy and we're running and we're rushing and And, you know, people will come into the salon and like, even when we're texting about what it is, I have this like novel that's a copy and paste, you guys. I don't type it out every single time. I never could. I have a lot of copy and paste in my notepad. If you want to see like behind the curtain to the Great and Powerful Oz, it's like 99 copy and pastes that we edit individually for our clients. But, you know, I'll send out this big long thing. And sometimes I'll have people say like, well, what if I just want a haircut? I don't want that education. I don't need the product. I already love what I'm doing. And I've had to do something that's probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do, because early in my career and when I started training stylists in my own salon, and they would say, do I have to do men's cuts? Do I have to do kids cuts? Do I have to do perms? I would say this thing where I would say like, I mean, I guess you don't have to if you know how to say like, I don't want your money. And I felt like this badge of honor for that. Of like, I can do all the things and I can do them well. And honestly, guys, I do a lot of things well in our industry, even though I don't actually do them anymore because I've niched down, like my friend told me 12 years ago. But the thing is like, I've had to start to say, I don't know if I'm your hairstylist. Yeah. Like, if you just need a cut, there's probably somebody out there who can do that for you. But what we do here is we take time to talk. Yeah. We educate you. We teach you about clean products. I understand that you have something that you think is pretty good because it used to be complete trash and now it's not complete garbage anymore. Sure. You've learned how to kind of sort of manage it. But like, if you're not willing to learn, then it's just not a good fit. You probably don't need me. No, right. And like, honestly, like services in our salon come at a premium. And I think when people say, what if I don't need all those things? They're actually trying to like, the next thing would be like, how do we make the price a little, you know, do I not pay for, if I don't need products, is it less if I don't need this? And Jamie, you actually really helped me with this. Like after COVID, I was what most people would consider extremely successful in this business. And taking that time off, you know, while we all thought it was terrible, it actually let me see how close to burnout I was. Yeah, for sure. And I went back into the salon and I wanted to take care of everyone because that's who I am and that's what I want to do. And I was working 6 days a week and I was making 40% less money. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to die. And so you helped me completely reconstruct my business. Yeah. And when we did that, I used to be still to the high side of reasonable, whatever that is. But I was never going to feel good about, I essentially needed to see about 40% less clients in a day than I was currently seeing. And number one, because of COVID capacity stuff, but also I think it was like a God thing that he was like, baby girl, you're a hustler, but you can't do this forever, you know? Well, and when you did it, your how you loved on people, it's almost like God was like, said to you, this is how you do it better. This is how you have more of that connection you're really looking for. And this is what you do. And it was really scary. It was so scary. I know, so scary. And it worked really well. Well, and what I needed to do was essentially double my prices, but I didn't feel good about just being like, it's double because I say so.
Yeah.
So you and I, we dug in,
Yeah.
and I was like, all right, if somebody came into me and they said, if time is of no essence and money is no object,
What
and
would
I
I do?
just said, make my hair look fabulous, what would I do if every one of the strings got cut off of the puppet, right? What would me, the curl specialist of 17 years, 15 years, whatever, what would she do knowing what she knows?
Yeah.
And that was how we came up with this all-inclusive service model that I have. And it's like, you know, and it's also changed and grown over the years. Because
Yeah,
at first it
it's
was like, we're
adjusted.
going to deep condition. And then I started learning about all the crud that's on people's hair. And so now we have like our signature detox and hydrate,
Yeah.
which no one else calls it that. Other people kind of do it, especially in the curly world,
Yeah.
that in the circles that I run in throughout the country. But it's really that, like, I can feel really good about, I started to say earlier, like I used to have a hard time saying I don't wear money. And now I'm just like, I don't know that you need me. Like, if you don't need those things, like, I'm going to save space for the people who really do. And so being able to like carve out that space
Yeah.
for the desperation that
Yeah.
our clients feel, the ones that are like, it's a lot and they're budgeting for it and it's an investment and they're toiling. And you know what? I don't take it lightly.
No, you don't.
It's
That's
really
true.
important to me.
It's interesting because as you were saying that, it made me think of something that I don't know that we've ever really talked about.
Oh, this should
And
be
right, and
interesting.
we
I feel
talk
like
for
we've talked
hours
about
a week,
everything.
is that, you know, as we talk about how we identify in other people the scarcity versus the abundance mindset. And we often talk about it always regarding money. But as you were just saying that, it hit me. It was like, really, we're going to just cry our eyes out today, apparently.
This is going to be so good.
Really that's why I stopped. I'm like, is...
I didn't wear the waterproof mascara either, you guys. Like,
I don't
there's a
either.
great mascara in my salon and
There
it is
is.
not on my eyes right now.
I don't
And
either.
I blame her.
I have the long,
Okay.
the
Me
long
too, me
dating one on. So
It might get
there
ugly.
was a scarcity, you wanting to take care of every person.
I know.
It wasn't a financial scarcity.
wasn't.
It was a love scarcity.
It was.
It was like, this fulfills me and I need to fill this love need in me. So I'm going to touch every head I possibly can and kill myself in the process because I need to feel fulfilled by loving these people.
Yeah.
Because the more people I can love on, the more I'm going to feel fulfilled. Like, that was a scarcity piece that we didn't realize was happening.
Yeah.
And now where you stand, there's just this different level of confidence and care and depth in the way that you get to touch these people's lives.
Yeah.
Like, it's drastically different. And as you were saying that, I'm like, oh my God. And there's then, like, I don't want to, you know, sometimes we talk about being in the scarcity mindset. We're like being needy towards money. It's almost like we're trying to do that too with love. Like, we're trying to, like, oh, how many people can I love today so I can feel really fulfilled and really good about myself? And if you think about the transitions that you are also going through personally during that time frame and what's transpired since, it's like, wow, that's a really, really beautiful, deep thing that happened as a result of what we did. Because what that did was you took a chance on, when I'm talking to a person who's in a bad relationship and they don't want to ask their partner a question because the answer might just break them. So it happens. You were in that spot with your salon.
Yeah.
And you had the courage to ask that question and stand in the fact that everybody might have said no.
Yeah.
And that would be okay because you were doing what was right for you.
Yeah.
And then crazily, many people did not.
Oh my gosh.
Very few people said no.
Yeah. I feel like I have to tell like my version of this story. And I don't know if you remember it exactly this way, but it's definitely conversations that we had. So first of all,
that was a big moment though.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry,
I got
go
like
ahead.
all the tears and like I'm actually really mad because you guys don't have tissues in the studio and I think that's a bunch of bananas. So they need to live right here from now on.
Okay.
Just in case. Or at least if I'm here, right? Can we just do that? I also used to, you guys, I would never cry. I hated to cry. And this little turd over here
Made you have feelings.
I hate that.
know.
Her and Jesus, man. Ugh, so annoying.
Make you have feelings.
Yeah. But yeah, so when I was seeing all those clients, you're right. It was not about money. And I made great money because I saw so many clients.
Yeah.
But it really was. It was about this. This industry has always been about service for me.
Yeah.
Very early on, I was at a hair show and I heard somebody on stage say, if you worry about the money, you will chase the money your entire career.
Yeah.
But if you just worry about the people and taking care of the people, you will never worry about money. You will always have enough money. And for the first, like really till I was working with you, I never had like financial goals. I didn't know my like retail to service numbers, like all these things that like now I set for my team to help them kind of track things. Like I never needed that. I was just like, I'm just going to take care of every single human I can. And P.S. not take care of myself in the meantime. But it really wasn't ever about the money. And so where my prices were previously, I was waiting to train someone to come along and fall into that price point so that I could raise to another price point. And I was always planning on being more, but I just didn't want there to be people who we couldn't serve because they couldn't afford it. And I went to a conference. I'm a big education person, both personal and, hair education, business education, all that, coaching. And they said, you have to lead from in front. And I was like, what?
I remember this.
Yeah. And they were like, you need to raise. And then someone will come in who wants to learn from you. And at that point, I had, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 associates in like 6 or 7 years. And it's like they'd work with me just about to the point where they were trained, and then they kept falling off. And I had a lot of frustration and sadness around that. And honestly, that little like devil on the shoulder who's like, you're doing something wrong.
100%. Yeah.
Really, I just like took that leap of faith and came here, and it took a little while. There was another one who was a really nice girl, but then just was like petrified to build. And like, I think she went back to waiting tables or something, and she was a sweetheart, and it was so sad for me. And then I spent a year not working with anybody because I was like, I just don't think I'm built for this anymore. But that's like exactly what God built me for, is to train and love and teach and all of those things, whether it's my clients or other stylists or whatever. But, and now the people who are in our company, like they're seeking me out, and it's really cool. Yeah. And you always told me it would be that way. And I was like, yeah, whatever, girl.
Like, no.
But yeah. And so it's been really interesting, just the whole transition.
Something that I think is interesting, people might not realize, is so when it comes to your team, right? When it comes to bringing in other stylists, so what is something that you have I mean, I know there's a lot, but like what pops in your mind first? Would you say, because what a lot of people don't know is that a lot of stylists, they're not really set up for success straight out of beauty school, out of cosmetology school. They're really not. I didn't know that until I've worked with so many stylists that I see this and I'm like, oh my God, these poor girls, like they need more information. But especially when they're leaving that and coming to work in a natural beauty curly salon, what do you feel like is the biggest thing that you have to work with them to get shifted in their head so they can actually serve clients the way the curl sanctuary way?
Oof, that's a hard question. Honestly, I believe kind of in every industry that when you come out of school, like you gotta have a mentor. You've got to. And like, I think so many times, and especially in this world, like as time goes on, we just keep getting more and more of this, like, we need to be self-sufficient and we need to be able to do it on our own and we need to be able to crush it. And like, I honestly don't believe that is how we were made to be.
It's not human nature.
It's not. I mean,
it's
like,
not what we were designed for.
In this world we live in currently, I know that there's a lot of stigma around religion and all that stuff, but like if you know me for a little while, you might not know, but if you know me for any amount of time, you know that like I love me some Jesus.
Her first thing she ever said to me was, you need to know about me is that I fiercely love Jesus and my husband. And I was like, okay, thank you. Yep.
But so we were built to live together. We were built to live in community. We were built to
Support each other.
one person be good at something and someone else be good at something else. In my industry, specifically, speaking of that, like I tell people, like, you don't have to come out of school and not have a safety net. Like, you don't have to be good enough. Like, honestly, anybody who's been doing this for a hot minute, they already know you're not. Like, you don't have enough practice to be.
Yeah.
You know, like, you might have great ideas. You might be good at what you've done. You might be great at the things you've practiced. But, like, you've done it for 1,500 hours. 1,500 hours, you guys. That's what it takes
to become a cosmetologist.
Yes. You do 1,500 hours in school. You take a written and a practical board. And then they teach you everything you need to know not to hurt people and break hair off. Kind of, sort of, not exactly. And then
true.
like the technical version of that, but then it doesn't always fully sink in. And then they like send you out into the world, like fly, little birdie. And I just had a conversation recently with a stylist that's coming out of school that I kind of, she reached out to me because of the Girl Sanctuary and I guess seeing our socials or Google or whatever. And I got on a call with her and I was like, so what do you want? What kind of salon do you want to be in? Like, what kind of culture do you want? What, tell me a little bit about you. I'm at this stage where we have an amazing team and we haven't talked about this yet, but I'm growing a space. My husband and I bought a house that we're converting to a salon that I am saying is going to be the forever home of the Curl Sanctuary.
I mean, it's pretty great. It's
so beautiful, you guys. And
it's going to be amazing.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. But we're going to have a lot more space to grow where I've always been in studio spaces that were smaller, and I'd had one and I've had two and I've had three. But now instead of having like what used to be as the biggest one was 300 square feet, I've got 1,500 now. And so it's like there's more space to grow. But I don't just want warm bodies. I want people who support my why, my mission statement, my love triangle that I have with my clients and their curly hair and me.
They have similar desires. Like it's an alignment piece. Like I was thinking about it when you were talking about doing the exclusive packages, like this inclusive, like this is what you have.
Ooh, spoiler alert.
And you're like, this is what we're doing. And I thought about it. I'm like, that's really what we do at the studio. Like when people ask about podcasts or doing a show, like we have a package and I don't really break it down for them any different way because that package is what we know is the minimum that's going to make your show successful. And we know that these are the things that will make your show successful. Right. Just like and we are the experts, right? So like with you saying, this is what I know is going to make your hair the thing you're asking for me it to be. And I want people to also know, because we haven't mentioned this yet, is that we're talking about all natural textured hair, which is also what's very unique about the Curl Sanctuary. Yeah. Is because you're treating
everything from this, which I had to put in a diffuser to get it to do this way, and then I got rained on today, you guys. But everything from this to like tight around a pencil lead coils, like things that don't even look like curls until you like shove that moisture in.
Yeah.
And yeah.
As just so many people grow up in this salon is a place where you should feel comfortable. It's a place of community. It has these feelings but it's also been a place of everybody throwing chemicals at themselves. And so
fixing it, right? Like, let's fix your hair. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean like, let's make it its best self.
Yeah.
It means like, let's not make that what grows out of your head. Let's make it something way prettier than that, which I am not here for, by the way. Like, I am not here for that.
Well, which is what, I mean, you're basically like life coaching people's hair.
Yeah. I feel like God made us beautiful just the way we are. And like, whenever I have little girls in the salon, sometimes people will say like, do you do kids? And we do kids, and we will always do kids. And it doesn't necessarily cost something different than it does for adults. But honestly, the investment is even more huge because we're not just teaching the kid, we're teaching the parent too, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, like if you are someone with curly hair, or if you're not, if you know someone with curly hair, if you go back and you ask them if they never, like we all have our awkward years when we're like teenagers, or I feel like it gets younger, like every decade it's like another year or two, it's like but in 3 decades we're going to have like 4-year-olds that are going through puberty or something. They're little toddler teenagers. But if you could just eliminate the not knowing what to do and the feeling uncomfortable and awkward just about the hair piece, because there's already enough awkward going
And
on
that's what
in
they're
those
getting
stages
made,
of life.
they're going to get
And
made
so,
fun of for those things. And like,
yeah, so it's like we will always do children because literally, like, I hope there's a world because of what I do right now and everyone I train and all these things. I hope there ends up being a world where we damn near eliminate the 55-year-old women who are sitting in my chair almost in tears because they say, I have never liked my hair my entire life. I have always fought it, and I had no idea it could be this beautiful. Like,
think about
I
the
believe in a
power.
world that has
Yeah.
that going on,
Think
right?
about the power you give to a young girl, especially.
Yeah.
In young, you don't just only do women, but like imagine.
Oh, no, I do the dudes too.
Yeah, curly hair
Yeah.
boys
Mhm.
too. So, but like a young girl with curly hair,
Yeah.
you know, and teaching her how to love it and not damage it and not,
Yeah.
you know, just all those things. It's beautiful.
And you guys, it's so much more than hair. It's like,
Yeah.
what I started to say.
Oh, yeah, this is how we-
ADHD for the win, which I say like 9 times in every coaching call that Jamie and I have. But what I tell these little girls is I'm like, you guys, I'm sorry in advance, but not really. So some of us, P.S., I believe that like 80% of humanity has some sort of natural texture to their hair. So this is like most people. Some of us, God loved so much that he gave us like individual curls on our head. So we don't want to straighten that and look like everyone else. Like mine don't look like anyone else's. Like there's lots of different shapes and sizes and, you know, colors and this and that. And so like, it's so much deeper than hair because it's like really loving yourself
It's an
for
identity
who
thing.
you are
Yep.
and how God made you
Yep.
and believing that you're wonderful right where you sit in that moment.
Yeah.
And then in those moments where everyone, including myself, doesn't believe that, having someone come alongside you who has faith for it while you don't.
Yeah.
And can just love on you through that moment in those times when the other thing about human nature, which is why we're called the living community, is that we want to be real hard on ourselves. We want to see the worst thing. We don't see the big picture. We see this little thing that we're stuck on. And sometimes we just need someone else to come alongside of us and say, you know, that's not you. That's not how I see you. I don't think that's who you were made to be. Let's celebrate who you are.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, it's what I do in my work.
Yeah,
It's the
it's totally
exact
what you
thing.
do.
Yeah. It's the
Oh my
exact
God,
thing.
you've broken me and put me back together more times. I swear I'm like a literal stained glass at this point. Like, but you know, there's a lot of, just like stained glass, there's like a lot of beauty in the imperfections.
100%. It was funny.
And now I'm willing to own those a little more than I used to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of my questions was, because we've been working together for so long, is that, you know, I think this is a really maybe a tough question. Maybe it isn't. What would you say is a big shift that you've had personally during the time that we've known each other?
Stop it. How much time do we have? Do we have like 4 hours in the studio today?
No.
Okay. So
Sam is saying no.
And he's like, no, I'd like to have lunch at some point today. Thank you. Do you remember when I went to that mastermind, that original one?
Yeah.
And you were talking about like all the things that you do and how you live life. And it was very much
Intentional
more
living.
intentional living, which is what we do now. At that point, you were the get shit done girl. You were the, you know, grind through girl. And life has kind of kicked us both in the cojones over the years a few times. And things are a little bit different. But we still use big versions of that, just with a little less grinding than we used to.
We use it more intentionally.
What you said, you know, you were laying out and your calendars and your this and your time blocking and your da-da-da-da and your da-da-da-da, and I don't even remember exactly what it was. And I remember, like, I literally thought to myself, like, I mean, that sounds great for you. And then because things come in my head and then go out my mouth, I said, that sounds cute. Did I say cute? I think I said,
cute,
that's a cute idea.
You.
Oh, no, that sounds like a cute idea. But how do you actually make that happen in real life?
Or you were like, that's actually, that's not possible
gonna work for me.
Yeah.
No. And so I left there and I was like, this was a really fun weekend. One of my good friends had brought me because she had been working with Jamie at the time. And I was like, that was fun. You know, my husband was out of town on a fishing trip. I'm like, girl weekend. It was fun. But like, Yeah, no, I mean, cute story. And then, I don't know, a couple months later, you had this like smaller
Incubator.
group thing. And then I remember when that was done, what was it, like 8 or 12 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
And then you were like, and it was like every 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that. And you were like, and most people see me every week. I'm like, ain't nobody got time for all that. Every week? No way.
And now we like barely,
oh my God.
We don't even
get
get an hour.
Like a couple hours, we're doing real good usually.
Yeah, I just think that, the difference would happen is you trusted. That's the thing about Jessica. So I bought you a shirt once that said, was it praying or like
prayer is my business? Prayer is part of my business model.
Yes.
Which P.S. it is.
It really is. She'll be like, I think that's a good idea, but I need to pray on it. I'll get back to you. And it really is. And it's like, because then Jessica.
It's not just my business. It's everything at this point.
It is. Well, yeah, it's your business and life. And so it's, you follow that though. And when you do, it works.
Because when I don't, it doesn't.
Right.
Because when I act in my own strength, it gets real wonky. Like really quickly.
I'm gonna power this to work my own way. And it's like, no.
Yeah,
it
can't. It just absolutely can't. And
no.
Also, like, the most beautiful thing is like when I was deciding it was time to hire, and when I was going out and recruiting people, and when I was, filling the space for the next person, and it's time to push this one up and get someone else in here. You guys, none of them stuck.
No.
They didn't stick. And now I literally wake up every day and I spend my car ride to work, like praying over my salon, my clients, now my employees, and I let him tell me when it's time to have someone new. And for years, you told me that I could just have a thing on my website that said, if you want to work for us. And I was like, I don't really think it works that way, because I'm like posting on Indeed and like going to Craigslist back in the day and like Facebook and all these things. And I was just getting, really nice people. Everyone who's ever worked for me has been really nice, but not the right fit. And now I literally have people knocking on my door and I'm like, hey, big guy. Is this it? Is this what we're doing now?
Yeah.
And like you asked me earlier about, what do you need in the industry and young people coming up. And, I started to say I had the conversation with a new gal, and she was talking about, I asked her some questions. I told Jamie, I was like, I'm going to try to shut up. I'm going to try to just ask her 3 questions and shut my big fat mouth. And I did ask her the questions, and she didn't really know the answers. And she was like, oh, it'd be so good if I knew. And I was like, yeah. And so then I just ended up like kind of verbal diarrheaing all over her who we are, what we do, who I am, what I believe in, my passions, which is P.S. so easy for me because it really was something that got planted in me.
Yeah.
I do feel like my salon is my mission field, and I get to love on people for a living, and it's sweet. It's really sweet when I live in that space where it's like here and then here. And then she got really excited about our salon. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, I'm going to be out of school in like 20 days. Like, if I wanted to work with you, what would I do? And I said, well, I'll tell you what, let's have another conversation, like either right before or right after you graduate. I really enjoyed my conversation with her. And I was like, but I need you to be able to answer those questions. Like, do you want to mentor? Do you want to get out on your own? Do you want to work on commission or hourly? Do you want to run your own business? Like, what's your long-term goal? What's your short-term goal? I personally believe that everyone coming out of school should work with a safety net. Like, find a mentor. Find somebody where if you get in over your head, you can be like, excuse me, just one moment. And then you can be like, come in the rec room. And then be like, oh my God.
I don't know what to do,
then,
right?
Yeah, and then I can like help you and coach you and work through that. And so that's how we grow people now. But it doesn't feel good if that's not what you're going for.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because I really do feel like at this point, I'm excited to build this new salon. I'm excited to be able to, people say, are you going to hire more stylists? Are you going to have renters? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? I'm like, nah, we train all the people in-house because our culture is the most important. Our culture, the way we love on our clients, and the way that we educate and execute is the most important thing to me. And I didn't have human children. I may have a whole bunch of furry children, but really the Curl Sanctuary was my first baby.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to just let it go run the streets with somebody.
Sure.
And so we train everybody up in-house.
Right.
And at this point, I'm just kind of like, when God sends me the right person, we'll grow.
Right.
And until then, he's going to send us the right amount of clients. When we need more, when
And
there's more clients, then they're going to send me somebody else.
And the deal is, I mean, that's really how it's played out. Like, that's the other part of it, too. It's like, it really has played out that way.
Yeah. And when I try to take it back, it goes wonky.
Yeah.
And when I give it up,
yeah,
it goes beautifully.
Yeah, for sure.
It's real crazy. Has it kind of freaked
No.
you out over the years as you've watched me go through this?
Not really, because I was a manifesting child before, that was my jam. And so we speak about it a little bit differently, but it's the same thing, and I believe that everything we try to force never works. And so that's what it is when we're able to surrender and trust, and it's terrifying. And a lot of people never are able to do that.
Yeah.
And we've all been in that spot.
It is terrifying.
It is.
And also, like, I feel like I have to surrender to it, like, somewhere between, like, 10 and 10,000 times a day.
Sure.
So, like, as, a fully grown control freak, I like to say recovering type A control freak. Not that recovering. I'm constantly pulling things back, and then I'm like, oh, just kidding.
Right.
Like, let the balloon go. Wait. Let the balloon go.
Whoops, I didn't mean it. Whoops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So something that I think would be interesting for our viewers would be, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions in regards to personal brands within your style, within your industry. So, because here's the unique thing about Jessica, when I mentioned this at the very beginning, is that she started her business and her book of clients before the internet, basically.
Oh my God, you guys. Here's the deal. I did not become
business cards, knocking on doors.
I did not become a hairstylist to computer for a living.
No. And so that was like the biggest resistance was the social media. And now it's like, it is what it is.
And before that, it was like electronic booking systems. Like, I would still have a pencil and a piece of paper and a giant eraser if I was left to my own devices.
Yeah. And so it's like, that piece of the puzzle has definitely changed. And so we witness this and we experience it with the girls that come in, and I've witnessed it with all the other stylists that I've worked with. And so I'd like you to say, through that experience, because again, you originally built your book through word of mouth, through knocking on doors, through giving people business cards.
In bars in my 20s.
Yeah. And like whoever you talk to, oh, you have beautiful hair, here's my thing. And so for you in the current state, like, what would you say, how would you describe a personal brand? What does that mean to you?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is just trying to figure out who you are and what you want. And then, do whatever sort of like journaling or pros and cons list or whatever it takes to get to that. And then just stay true to that. Like I mentioned earlier about that person that said, if you chase the money, you're always going to be chasing something. Yeah. And like, I kept my prices really low for a long time just to love on people, knowing the money would come, and it did. Sure. But now it's like, we sat down and we've done like, who's your ideal client? And we've been working together for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. I'll be happy when it's like 10, and then we can just be like over a decade.
Right.
And we don't have to think about it anymore. But yeah, and it's changed and it's ebbed and it's flowed, and it's been hard, but it's also been okay. And there's been times when it's not been as flowy, and it's because I was trying to force something. And so I would say when it comes to personal brand, it's like, ask yourself who you are. Ask yourself what you want to build. Yeah. Right now, I've got myself, who's like the curly mama, right? Of my salon. And then I've got Lily, who's amazing. She's really sweet. She's a little bit timid. She's an absolute doll. She's very talented. Everyone loves her. We have a clean makeup line, Jane Iredale. We have a clean hair care line, Inner Organic Beauty. And we know them inside and out. And Lily is our resident makeup artist because she also works for Jane outside the salon. Now, I've been a makeup artist since I was 18 years old, but I don't need to be the makeup artist in our salon. Yeah. Like, that's Lily's role. And she also likes to play with things like brush styling. And so, like, that's her role, right? And then Sierra, she has tight curls. She's a Black woman, and she's starting to build with us. And so I've been asking her, like, and really both of them, as our business is growing and changing. There's a lot of things over the years, because mine was like this, that you and I have worked on scale down, scale down, scale down, scale down, because there was only so much of me. And now we've got the girls in here, and there's more time and space. And so now I'm like, okay, scale out, scale out, scale out, scale out. But I think that on the personal brand is like, if we all ask ourselves who we want to be and who we want to serve and what lights us up, we're going to be successful. We're not going to love coming to work doing things we don't enjoy. And so I've been having a lot of conversations with the girls about, like, what do you want to build? And for Sierra, we're getting ready to start doing some boot camp curly hair cutting classes, but she's amazing at the styling that she's been doing, which is what my associates start doing my shampoo bowl work until they get really good at it. And then we move to hair cutting. And she and I were just talking about, because she's a Black woman with tight curls, like, what sort of styles does she want to do? Like, does she want to start doing twists and braids and some of these things that our salon doesn't offer? And we'll offer the clean, beauty, healthy hair alternative to that, which isn't always out there for everyone. And so I think it's really just asking yourself what lights you up, and then leaning in,
and aligning everything you're doing with it. Your content,
and then it's the scarcity or the abundance. It's like, it's good when you're young in the industry to do everything you can, because I don't really think you know what you love until you've done a little bit of everything. And also, I tell all my clients all the time that, yes, of course, this is hard right now that you're learning this today, but everything's hard the first 3 times you do it. Everything's hard the first 10 times you do it. When you've done it 100 times, it's not hard anymore. And so you kind of do a little bit of everything at first, but then as you've been doing it for a little while, you figure out what lights you up, and you refine into that.
I love it. So what would you say is a big misconception that people have about being a hairstylist?
Oh my God, you guys. So there's this thing that happens in our industry, and it doesn't really happen to me anymore, because I'm such a psychopath about showing up professionally in our profession. And unpopular opinion, now, like, being in a studio suite and stuff like that, like, sometimes I would see people come in and, like, what I would wear to the gym, or honestly, you guys, what I would clean my house in. And, like, slick back hair and no makeup and whatever, leggings, sports bras. I'm like, what is happening right now? I think one of the things that is people say to hairstylists, which if you think you might want to say this to a hairstylist, feel me going thunk against the back of your head and do not say it. They want to know, when we're done with our cute little hobby that we're making money at,
what our real job will be.
What our real job will be. And to all the hairstylists out there that may be watching this, I'm sorry if it felt like I was digging at you. I was not trying to be hateful, but I can tell you from personal experience that if you show up professionally at your job, people will consider it your profession. You show up looking like you're going to be dressed for work. You have your hair and makeup done because you're in the beauty industry. You have a stylish outfit on that doesn't have holes, doesn't have bleach stains, doesn't have, it's not your dirty hiking boots from last weekend, right? Show up professionally and people will follow your lead, and you can do whatever you want and you can charge whatever you want, and you show up professionally, you do good work, sky's the limit. And if you are that client who is like, this is cute because she's in her 20s, I was making 6 figures by the time that I was 30. And that was not in our current climate. That was 15 years ago. So I like to say that I can write the book on how to become a 6-figure hairstylist in 5 years. And P.S., it's really freaking hard work. It's grinding. It's getting in there. It's doing everything it takes. It's handing out cards all the time.
And
it's
talking to people.
It's constant education. It's constant talking to people about their hair, compliments. Even if I look at somebody and I think they look a hot mess and they have curly hair and I think, good Lord, they need me, I say, oh my God, I love your curls. And they say, oh my God, it's such a mess. And I say, oh, I own a salon where all we do is curly hair. And like, honestly, I only see an after picture. So I know you might not be having your best hair day, but all I see is what it could be. And I love your curls. And sometimes I don't even mention the name of my salon. I don't give a card. I don't do anything. I just turn around and walk away.
I
And
talk to
they're
people
like,
about their
what?
curls all the time. I don't
Yeah.
mean to, but now I know the care and attention that it takes to have your curl. And so I talk when I notice, I'm like, I love your curls.
Yeah.
Because I know how big of a deal that is and how
Yeah.
much it matters.
Well, and in this industry, it's really hard work to get good. It's really hard work to build a strong clientele.
Yep.
And it is a completely knocks the air out of you when somebody says, what are you going to do when you stop playing around with this?
This is terrible.
It's really disrespectful.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just definitely a big misconception. What's a boundary that you've had to set in order to, because again, like we've had to create the ability to be. Are we always great at it? No. But are we working towards it regularly where we can actually have some peace? Yes.
And hiring somebody to knock you back into place when you fall off of it? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So what would be a boundary that you've set for yourself that helps you maintain that?
Business or personal?
Either. Whatever pops into your head.
Okay. So I'll do business first because that was the first one that popped in my head. I used to come in early, stay late, come in on days that I wasn't working. And I would, there's this saying that I heard years ago where it's like, don't let someone else's lack of planning become your emergency.
Yes.
And it made me feel like I wasn't caring for them when I did that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized is that in trying to care for them, I wasn't caring for myself.
Yeah.
And then kind of business and personal, about 3 years ago, I used to say things like, I leave it all on the field.
Yeah.
And my husband knows that. And this is just what he gets. And I'm just this tired. And God, you guys, I was such a bitch. I didn't know it. I didn't know it at the time. I really didn't.
Oh my God, I didn't expect you
as
to
I'm
say
saying
that.
it out loud, I'm like, oh gosh, I've even said this before and I never said that. But like, ugh, it feels gross now saying it. I guess I'm recovering that too. But at one point, Jamie and I were working on a lot of that stuff, and I was working on it with my therapist, and it was so unfair to him, honestly. But he was pretty good about it at the time, but then also like always felt like he didn't really have all of me because while I told him he did, he didn't, right? Yeah. And then I heard this thing as we were growing and working on that together of like, saying yes to one thing is always saying no to something else. And so when I find myself becoming a yes person, and then I also find myself exhausted and exasperated, I'm like, sometimes I have to ask myself what my yes is a no to.
Yeah.
And
the
make
reality
sure,
of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like even the client that I really super love, so I'm just going to stay a little bit later. Mm-hmm. But then I told my husband I would be home for dinner at 6:30 and like he's got a new job and we're kind of passing in the night and we don't get that much time together. And if I stay to care for her because she really needs it, then I just cut out possibly the only 2 hours that he and I were going to be able to like sit down and have a good conversation. And then when I get home, I'm exhausted. And I'm like, I have no more words, which is something that I say to him sometimes because I literally use them all day at work.
Right.
And he's become way more understanding about that over the years, and he gets it. But also, like, is it fair? And the answer is no.
It's not fair.
Most of the time, no.
It's not fair to ourselves either. Like that's the one I've had to learn. Is like
I know, but I'm so much better at caring for other people than I am.
I know. Well, for me, here's the kicker. Let me explain this one to you. This one's going to take you.
Don't make me cry.
Full circle. No, it won't. It's a
I don't have streaks
down
my face yet, and I'm happy about it.
So we have, like in my world, I could sit and work and create reels and make posts and make images, especially right now with the barbecue sauce company. It's like the only time I have to do that is in the evenings. Mm-hmm. But I have to stop at 6 Because what I learned is if I don't fall asleep until like 11:30 or midnight because of the like my brain is still in creative mode. And so I have to stop at 6. But when I don't stop at 6, the amount of things that I'm saying no to as a result by me saying yes to staying and doing this later, I'm saying no to my team. I'm saying no to my clients. I'm saying no to my body. I'm saying no to my dogs. I'm saying no to so many things because that sleep is so important. So while yes, that's me making a decision that is the best for me, it's because that decision is what lets me be everything I can to everyone else. And so when we can put the weight on those things, like people are like, geez, Jamie, you're thinking too much. Like that's heavy. I'm like, no, it's necessary for us to make those decisions and those boundaries.
And also,
it helps, you know?
Yes. And also, I just want to say that it's okay sometimes for the answer to be yes to the client or yes to the reels.
Yep.
But
not all the
time. It used to always be for me.
When it's the exception, not the rule, it's different.
Yeah, I keep talking about my husband. It comes in a lot of other places, but I mean, he's been very patient with me over the years, and sometimes not, but most of the times, yes. About, you know, if it was a 60-40, a 70-30, a 90-10, like he was always getting the lower amount.
Sure.
And when I kind of stepped back from that after he and I did some like counseling and stuff together, I was like, that is really unfair. Like, no wonder why it's hard for him sometimes with me when I'm like, just be patient. Can't you understand what I'm doing? And he does. Yeah. He sees me building a universe.
Right.
He's so freaking proud of me. He can't see straight.
Yeah.
But also like nobody wants to feel less than. So every once in a while you got to flip that and you got to let your person, your people, your especially if you're an entrepreneur, you got to let your personal become your 60, not your 40.
Well, and it fulfills you just as much as it's fulfilling that person. That's the other piece too. Like
again, I'm always taking care of my people more than taking care of me. That's why I have to work.
That's why you have a Jamie to be like, that's actually also you making a good decision for yourself. So we're gonna wrap up by you thinking of if there was something that you could say to the version of you that started the Girl Sanctuary. What would it be?
You have no idea how much magic you're going to make.
I love it.
But don't worry about it.
Oh.
And I kind of feel like I still don't.
No, you still don't get it. One of the best moments that Jessica and I ever had together in a coaching experience, and we've had a lot of really good ones. I could talk for 4 hours about just nonstop like moments that we've had.
Right, but he has
that
to
have
eat
been
lunch,
huge.
so we can't.
Yeah. Is one of the moments was realizing that you were going to take a picnic break. Do you remember though we were talking about climbing up the mountain?
Oh, yes.
This other peak.
Gosh, yeah.
I've reached this peak right here that I was looking at and couldn't just looking at, wow, it'd be really great to be there. And how often we reach the peak and we just keep going past it and we don't even acknowledge the moment that we reached that we have been working to for so long.
Yeah.
And so getting you to a place, because there was a period there where you sat on that picnic table for a long time because it was so important. And that's one of the number one things that I do for my clients is that I look at them and when they think they're go, nothing's good, everything's bad, I've not done enough, I'm not that, and I'm like, hold the phone.
Yeah.
Remember when.
Yeah.
Let's take a minute and look where you're at versus where you started. You know, I do it with you. You know Will very well, one of my other clients, and I do with him. Remember when you had one bay that you were renting, and now our problem is, gosh, we have too many buildings?
I remember I remember like when Will was working for somebody else.
Yeah, and it was this was an idea.
Thinking about getting a shop, and now he's got like a block or something. Right?
Yeah, he built the whole city block.
Yeah, I mean that was because I feel like that
was a good.
Everybody wants to think about climbing Everest, or like everybody who would want to do that. I don't want to, but like all the people who are hikers, they want, oh yeah, that would be the ultimate, right? Yeah. But like there's really very few people who actually make it to the top. And if you make it halfway, you got a better view than most of the world. And if you make it 2/3, and if you make it 3/4, whoa. And some people literally die trying. Well, so like, is it good enough?
And some people get there.
See the beautiful life that you have.
Some people will get to the top of Everest and be so quickly on to the next thing that they don't even bask in the moment of the thing they trained for 12 years or whatever it was. Exactly. And so it's a huge moment. So I think
Yeah.
that was a great place to wrap up. So
Yeah.
I think my hope always is with these conversations is that whomever's listening can pull as many nuggets that fit them as they can. So I think there'll be plenty. There always is when we talk in general.
Oof.
So that's why I knew that we'd have a good conversation. So thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So if you guys want to look up the Curl Sanctuary in St. Louis, they're the curls, it's curlsanctuary.com, and then they're all over social media, and you'll see lots of beautiful before and
Yeah.
afters. It's one of my favorite things where I'm
We're
like,
actually the Curl Sanctuary on social media because dumb, stupid hackers took my
they did.
accounts a few years ago and I
That was
never
a
got them
fun
back.
time.
Yeah.
That was a fun
But
time.
yeah.
The Curl Sanctuary. But what I love the most is getting to see, I'll be like, oh, those curls are so beautiful. And then I want to swipe to see the before. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I love
Yeah.
the transitions are great.
I'm just going to do like my shameless plug of like, if you are in the space where you're like, that's cute, but my curls could never look like that, you're wrong. Please just come see us. And I am training up people all the time. And my goal is to charge more money than I could ever imagine that anybody would have ever wanted to pay. But also, more importantly, having those levels in between that. And all of my girls that work with me are amazing at curly hair just for the simple fact that, first of all, we all have it. Second of all, we've put our time and our passion into learning about it. And it doesn't mean another stylist is bad. It just means they haven't taken the time to dig in and learn about that. They took the time to dig in and learn about something else. So if you're not sure, you can just come to us one time, learn what you need to learn, take it back to the person you love, your stylist that you've loved forever. We're not weird about that, but we really do want to help.
So anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Everyone that comes back and watches, I truly appreciate it. So as always, if you enjoyed this, make sure that you leave a review, a comment, a like, and make sure to share this conversation with anyone that you think can benefit from it. See you next time. Thank you for listening to Operation B, the podcast. To support this message and to support the show, please make sure that you like, follow, and share wherever you enjoy listening. And be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. That's the way to support this message. Thank you for being here, and see you next time.